Hi guys, welcome to the world of K. I'm your host, Nolita. A few hours ago, I decided to have an interview with a K-pop fanatic, and her name is Brittany. And so basically, I invited her to the show, and she will be with me for the rest of these 5 days, Monday to Friday, from 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. And we'll be talking about very important topics within the K-pop. And what we're trying to emphasize is that K-pop goes beyond just it being a genre. And we are also giving you a little bit of a perspective from a non-American audience point of view. So I hope that you guys will join us every single day, Monday to Friday, and that you'll enjoy the type of topics that we come up with in terms of K-pop. And yeah, so this is a recorded interview of between me and Brittany, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Hi, my name is Brittany. I am a K-pop fan. I have been a K-pop fan since 2016. K-pop has really changed my life, and my dream would probably be one day to move to Korea and experience the full sensation of K-pop. Being able to go to music shows. I feel like a lot of people from different countries aren't able to experience everything, to see their idols up close, go to the music shows, being able to go to signings on the albums and things like that. I feel like we aren't able, if you're not in Korea, like you at such a big disadvantage. And I think as a fan, I think that that's something that I want to pursue one day. Just moving there, being able to experience everything, getting a job there, having an Instagram and YouTube channel, showing off like what's happening there, and also to make it more visible to people that were like me in that situation, so that they can see what it's really like. K-pop has really changed my life, because I think in terms of like depression, there's a lot of lyrics, and if you like, a lot of people are just singing the songs, but if they actually read the lyrics and they read the deeper meaning into the lyrics, they will like see that like this, so it's so beautiful. And like for me as a K-pop fan, like that helped me so much in my depression. And so yeah, I'm just so excited to be here. I'm so excited to do this interview. Like I'm a K-pop expert, and like I'm just really excited.
Yeah, and so I think the reason why we're even doing this talk is because K-pop is so misunderstood, or
Yeah.
people don't know much about it. And so music is so diverse, but there's so much things that are happening in different music industries that I think we need to talk about them and we can relate to them. So I think that's why we need to like talk about K-pop because it's impacting a lot of youth in South Africa, even though majority of South Africa doesn't know about it, but it is impacting some of us, hence like you for example, and why we know you are here. So my first question for you would be, do you think that K-pop in general, not necessarily the genre, but the industry as a whole, is racist? Because when I was looking online and looking at like interactions between fans and interactions or discussions and discourses that were present on social media, racism was the number one topic that was raised up, and a lot of fans, K-pop fans specifically in America, were concerned about racism. So, do you think that K-pop industry as a whole is racist? So, for example, looking at the auditions, like, can you explain the audition, like a bit of the audition process, like how or what happens within there, and what is the criteria exactly? Like, how do you get from signing up to auditioning to going to the next round? Like, how does that go? What is the criteria? Is it just based on talent, or is it more than just talent? So can you just briefly explain how that is, and also explain why is it isn't racist?
I think that these companies, like they might not say it in so many words, but like to a certain extent, I don't think that they're racist. Yes, I would prefer, like, so basically, let me explain the process rather. Let me start there. So basically, like, say for example, BTS would release a video like saying like, oh guys, like we're so interested, like we're having global auditions, so all over the world basically they're having global auditions, and they put out a video and it's really cute and fun, and like you as a fan are so excited, like if you didn't know like deeper, like if you didn't delve deeper into K-pop, you would be like, oh, like finally, like I see all these videos and stuff of K-pop. I see all these videos of K-pop and things like that, and I see all those videos of K-pop, and I want to be a K-pop idol. And they're holding an audition in the US, and like me as a South African, I fly over there, and like without having like prior knowledge, like I go there, and like I find out that like it's not for me. Why? Because I'm not Asian. And like when they put out these videos,
how do you find out that you're not Asian? Because you're saying that you fly out to South Africa. You at the beginning, you didn't know the criteria, or you had a certain image or idea what K-pop is, and then you go to Korea. So when do you get to that point where you say, oh, okay, I'm not Asian? Because I mean, obviously you're not Asian even before you boarded the plane. So now when does it actually sink in? How did you find out that, okay, maybe this is not for me?
I think that when for me, I feel as if like you might go to maybe the second round or the third round, but like if you look at K-pop and like and there's so many different groups out there, you don't see a white person or a black person or an Hispanic person in those groups, sadly. Like, and yes, it might crush your dreams, and it might seem as if though it's racist, but like as a K-pop, because K-pop is not just it's not just pop, it's like it's culture, it's Korean culture as well.
Yeah.
And so there's a certain criteria. They might not state it on the video, that they posting that they looking for Asian, like
They
Asian
just say that they're
Canadians
looking for potential
K-pop
idol trainees.
And it comes back to your question, your thing of like, do you only need talent? And that isn't the case though. Like if there's so many criteria, like you need to like probably be a certain height, you need to be a certain race, which is obviously Asian. So Asian Canadian, Asian whatever.
But I guess also within that Asian group, we have to be a specific type of Asian, or we have to be an Asian that can be able to ascribe to the standards of what Koreans want.
That they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so coming back to what you're asking about, like, are they racist? I don't think so. I think there's a fine line, but like if everybody was let into K-pop, like any different race, then it wouldn't be K-pop anymore. And I think that's what our like fans really love about K-pop, because there's a culture. It's like it's
something different from Hollywood,
Western,
from house music, from kwaito.
Yes.
Yeah, like I think in terms of K-pop, and I think also another reason why we're doing this interview is that it's more than a genre, like you said. It's a culture. And so when we talk about culture, we're not just talking about the genre, we're not just talking about the fashion, but we're talking about the actual people, the bodies that are representing K-pop.
Yeah.
And the way they move, and the way they interact with each other, and the way they look on screen.
Yeah.
And if you don't fit
the criteria, then there's no way.
Yeah. Even how talented you are.
Yes, it doesn't matter like how talented you are. At that point, like, you will just be breaking you would, sadly, it might sound harsh to say, but like sadly you will just be breaking like what it means
to be
for
a
K-pop artist. And like, it might sound like really harsh, but like if you want to protect K-pop, like, you have to, and it sounds like it might come out as a racist, like what I'm saying now, but like if you want to protect K-pop, you can't let all those different races come into K-pop, because then it would be exactly the same as Western pop or a different type of pop that you get out there. And so that's why like there has to be that line and there has to be that barrier.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Yes, as a viewer, you want to feel included
Yeah.
in the genre, but unfortunately with this one you can't. Now the thing is, certain racial groups in media in general are not represented to their best ability. Even in America, where it's supposedly so diverse, we still see predominantly white people being represented in a certain light, in a certain positive light on media, on social media, on television, where other minorities aren't. And at the bottom of that barrel is Asians. And with what K-pop is doing is that it's literally taking Asian people and it's putting them on a pedestal, rightfully so, because they're now saying, but we also exist and you need to see us. So now when you wanna involve yourself into that equation, you're kind of taking away a bit of the reason why they started K-pop in the beginning.
Yeah.
They wanted to establish their own genre. They wanted to boost up the economy of Korea, and it worked. And they also want to feel represented. Now you are coming in and you're just kind of like messing that up. But unfortunately, sadly to say,
Yeah.
basically that's what you're doing. You're just kind of breaking that the whole original reason why K-pop was even established to begin with.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what do you think about Alex Reid, who was part of Rania? Now she was, if for all those who's listening don't know who Alex is, so she was an American artist. I think she was under Jay-Z's record label, and she somehow was able to make it into Korea by some, I don't know how. They're not really 100% transparent as to how she got there, but she got there and she became a trainee, and she's half black, half white. So she's not fully black, which is not necessarily a problem, but she's more able to sort of kind of fit a bit of the aesthetic. Like they can like alter her in certain ways, put on makeup to kind of make her to sort of kind of fit in the look of K-pop, compared to if she was actually like a fully like black person, if that makes sense, if I'm making any sense.
Yeah.
So what do you think about her and the whole situation? Can you just tell us about what happened with her?
I think
And what do you think about it? And do you think that when she entered Rania was still a K-pop group, or did you feel now Rania's just pop?
I felt like for me at that point, like she was just like a feature. Like you get those songs
Like for
where-
face, like she's just there for
like a couple of seconds. If you watch
just a
their
token,
music
basically.
videos and even their live performances, she would just come to her part and like literally like a feature. Like you would get even like if you had to compare it to Western music, you'll get, for example, Drake, it's his song, and then Rihanna will just come out to feature on the
and
track,
then she'll disappear again.
and then she'll disappear. So that was the same with her. So I don't know why they stated that she was actually part of the group, because if she was treated equally, then she would be in all the different scenes. And also the thing that like for me was just really like off was the fact that she wore different clothes
Compared to everyone.
compared to everyone else. And
I think they said they made some ridiculous excuse of no, her body type is a bit different from everyone else, and that's why they couldn't find clothes for her, which is ridiculous because she's quite thin.
exactly. And even so though, like even whatever body shape you are, the fact that they accepted you into that group, like they needed to make sure that everybody there had the same outfit or similar outfit,
Yeah.
or whatever the case may be. But now she was wearing these poofy dresses, and like it made you could see that she was just like that person that like, okay, now your feature, like we want the full song. And I think that firstly they shouldn't have let her into the group, like
No, it
personally my opinion, because later on she left, and like so
Was
what was the
always-
point?
It felt like they blatantly tried their best to make her be obvious that she's just a feature or she's not part of the group. Because even in the music videos, everybody's in the same location except for her. Everybody's dancing in a parking lot, and all of a sudden, Alex is somewhere in an apartment dancing on the couch by herself. Like it cuts in between. It's like literally two different artists featuring in one music video compared to it's just everybody together. And one thing that people had a problem with was that she was always rapping in English.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that if she was genuinely part of the group, then like you said, everybody would have been in the same location. Everybody would have been like equally dressed. Everybody would have been not just, she shouldn't have just been rapping in English. Once again, it comes back to the fact that she was just a feature. I get that maybe they wanted to try something different, but at that point it just created a division.
Even on stage,
Yes.
everybody's dancing. She's in a corner. She comes only when it's apart. She raps. She dances a little bit, and then she goes back to standing in the corner, and everybody's in the front dancing it out like in the party, and she's just nodding her head in the back because she's bored, and she's looks like she's just embarrassed now.
For me, it just looked like a division
Yeah.
between two different races.
Favoritism and
It didn't look right. It just looked like that one person that you, okay, let's just like see how it goes. And like I think after they saw that like a lot of people had a problem with like the way they treated her, I think then, and like magically she like decided to leave. But like I don't think that was the case. I can't personally say.
apparently she was on a show with Rania, and I don't know who brought it up, but someone basically broke the news and said she was no longer part of the group, and she didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So in her mind, she went to the interview with the rest of the Rania members, thinking that she was still part of the group, whereas actually they had decided to take her out even before she knew.
Yeah.
But then, Naha, what do you think about this situation compared to this other Russian girl who's white, who was fully accepted into the group that she's at? She hasn't debuted, I think, but I think they're still training. But there is no blatant separation going on there.
I think that when they specifically think of, I would say, I want to say like maybe because she's half black and half white, I would say maybe they only took her because technically she was like lighter skinned enough to be in the group,
And just
but
those
also like
European features. As
she had a
well.
bit of European features as well, and also so they wanted to use that to their advantage in terms of like, okay, so we're getting somebody that kind of like looks like a little bit European, but she also had a bit of black in her, so she was able to rap. And so I think that they wanted to give it like a different taste, whereas with the Russian girl, because I think she's white, they think that obviously in Korea, I think
Whiteness is a bit
it's white people are just seen as
the epitome of beauty, the
Yes.
epitome of success, basically.
exactly. And so with that being said, for them, I think that we'll only be able to kind of like understand and like be able to see actually the distinction if there is any type of distinction, if the group actually debuted, and we'll be able to see everything clearly, whereas with Rania we were able to see like how the stage performances was, and obviously that was no success. So it comes back to the first question, that like the first thing that we spoke about earlier, that like none of those people, regardless of whether you white, black, whatever race you are, like they shouldn't be allowed into K-pop, not because of a racist thing, but because of this division, and also the fact that like it takes away from K-pop
In general, yeah.
in general. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So now racism exists. Okay. So we agreeing, or are we not agreeing that there's racism? So we are basically saying these industries aren't being racist per se. They are just following protocol to preserve whatever culture K-pop has.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. So now we're moving from the industry level to personal level, or rather not personal level but individual level.
Individual, okay.
Okay, so and we're talking about the idols themselves, who represent their respective entertainment companies, but at the same time they represent themselves as people. So there's been like a few problematic things that people have said, and one thing that I can remember or that I can think of at the top of my mind is Jackson from GOT7. Jackson this one day was outside with Mark, and Jackson said, I don't know how the conversation started, but Jackson was like, oh no, let's not go to America because the people they're gonna shoot us. And he took it as a joke, basically. And a lot of fans were like, no, but like Jackson, what you said was racist. Like, like you should apologize and whatnot. So, do you think that what Jackson had said was racist, first of all? Do you think it's racist? Secondly, do you think that it's something that needs to be addressed? And do you think that it hinders or in any way sabotages the whole image of K-pop in general?
I think that yes, what the artists say has definitely an impact on K-pop, because a lot of people, because of the artists, would assume that okay, now then K-pop as a whole is racist because of what people say. And with Jackson's comment, like,
is a thin line also between racism and stereotype.
Yeah.
So now people are like it's a racist, but at the same time he didn't necessarily mention a particular race.
That's what I was just about to say. If he had said something like, I would say that it would then, like what he said, like we shouldn't go to America because we're gonna be shot. Like, I feel like it portrays a negative view of America. I don't think necessarily it portrays a negative then it actually portrays a negative view of everybody in America.
Yeah.
Because then, like he's saying, that whether you white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever the case may be, anybody can shoot you there. If he had said like, oh, like I don't want to go to America because a black person might shoot me,
or a white person is gonna shoot me.
Yes, or a white person or a Hispanic person is going to shoot me, then I would probably classify it as racist. Yeah, racism. And so I think, like you said, there's a fine line there.
And sometimes it's both. Sometimes
it's both,
some cases.
Definitely, I agree with you. But definitely, and for me, I've always had like a little bit of a because K-pop is so strict. K-pop is very strict in terms of the artists.
Yeah.
K-pop is extremely strict in terms of the artists. And there's a lot of things that K-pop idols have said that is racist. And for me, I just feel like if these companies are so strict, don't they control?
Yeah.
Don't they control like what the artists say? Like, don't like they tell them, oh, okay, like for me, this is what I've thought. So don't they think that like, don't they like say like, okay, like guys, like in order for us to gain more, because there's this thing in media, no publicity is bad. So maybe if they tell one artist, okay, like you say this, and then because it's so strict, K-pop is really strict, and like it's like you are in like literally in a plastic thing, whereas with Western artists, they're more free. They can say what they want to say, and then
even
they
if
apologize
it's wrong,
afterwards.
it doesn't affect it can kind of, but not
Yeah.
really, and it doesn't affect the company that they belong to either, and the company doesn't even force them to apologize. Like there's no strict rules put in place.
Whereas with K-pop, like the artist isn't in control. The management and the company is in control of what is being said, how they're being portrayed. And like that's another problem that I have. Like I think with K-pop, as a K-pop fan, I feel like the artists like aren't really themselves. Like there's just something that's, for me personally, something off about it. So like
basically these people are not there to be individuals. They're not there to promote diversity. They are there to promote K-pop.
Yeah.
And K-pop is a construct.
Yeah.
And K-pop is a certain image, and you need to ascribe to it. So it's something that's premeditated, and so that's why they have to fit in, not just physically but moral-wise and character-wise and personality-wise, with the aesthetic of K-pop.
Yeah.
So if you go a certain route that isn't what they want, immediately you're reprimanded. You can see that everything is controlled.
Yes.
Compared to like America, if you say something racist, that's your own problem. You will
Yeah.
have to deal with it yourself. Yeah.
It's just like you can see that they, like you said, they're not individuals. Like they really, everything is about selling K-pop,
And they themselves are an object. So
yes,
they're not
like I said,
people,
like
they're
in
objects.
plastic boxes to be I don't want to use the term used, but like in a certain extent you can go
Essentially,
that
they're
far.
being used.
Yes.
They're being used to promote the culture, but essentially they're also being used to boost the economy even more up.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're being used basically. I mean, it's bad to say it like that, but it's kind of like the reality.
It is reality, no, definitely, and it's sad because you don't really even know. Like, I'm not saying that like a lot of these personalities are like I feel like a lot of them are fake. Cause like I feel like when with the different K-pop groups, like there's always certain people, the one that has the 4D personality, the one that is the best at everything, the one that's the funny one. So like
Yeah,
those things sell, which is so.
It's ridiculous in America. Everybody has a role. You're the singer, you're the drummer, but here they have odd positions. You're the best looking one, so that is your position in the group.
Yeah.
To be the good looking one. Basically, like how like that, and then you are the youngest. That is your position to be. It's very different positions, and I think that's maybe also the reason why people just like K-pop.
I think it stems back
Yeah.
to what K-pop is.
Yeah,
So I definitely agree with you in terms of that. It's just I think it's that thing of like, where do you draw the line though? Like,
yeah.
so in terms of that, like
So then, if in Jackson's case, then we are basically saying that that's not K-pop.
yeah.
It was Jackson's own fault, and he needs to apologize for it. We can't make an excuse and say no. It's because of the criteria in K-pop. That is just his own personal views.
I think in terms of that, I can't say for sure, because like I mentioned earlier, K-pop idols are being controlled, so they might tell Jackson, okay, because like you can see that they control everything that they say is like too rehearsed for me.
And
I
so many
feel.
jump cuts going on in the videos.
Yes.
Some everything is missing. Like everything just disjointed. Everything doesn't seem to be fitting right.
So that's why I'm saying, like, in terms of that, I feel as if like you don't know. They might have said, okay, look at Jackson, because you grew up in America, I'm sure people won't consider that as like racist, or maybe it will boost like your ratings
Yeah.
or your popularity.
Yes, it
or
might
got
be
7.
negative, but it will give attention to the company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So say that, and like if it was somebody that is Korean, was born in Korea, and like is Korean, it would have a much more negative impact if that person said it. But because you are from the US, you say it, and I feel like there's certain things that they do, and that the companies say, look here, you do this, you do that, and it might not always be the case, like, because you do get some K-pop idols that retaliate against certain things, but then like magically you disappear and you lose court cases, like people from EXO, and you
EXO
banned
is a
in
whole topic on its own.
Exactly, and you just go downhill, because when you sign that contracts, you're signing your life away basically. So yeah, it's K-pop has its positive sides, and it also has its negative
In terms
sides.
of Mark, do you think people like Mark, who are Korean American, who come from America, do you think that he has a moral obligation to educate people like Jackson, or educate Koreans who are natives to Korea, to now say like, okay, what you did earlier ago was wrong. Now you need to apologize, or next time please don't say like this, or don't say anything at all. Do you think that people like Mark should be at that point where there are moral compasses for people like Jackson, or do you think that Jackson is just his own person, he must just learn on his own?
I think at that point, I think it's
because literally Mark in that video did not say, he was just smiling and just kept quiet.
I think it stems back to, I think if it was like a conversation between two people that are not in K-pop, like I think that he would morally have an like a obligation to Jackson
something.
and say something. Listen here, but
And
no,
educate
don't
him.
say that.
Or
But
defend America. Yeah.
exactly, but because it's in K-pop,
And
like
it's
I said, you
controlled.
don't know, like it can be controlled, and so
okay.
therefore they told him, listen, Mark,
Keep
because
quiet.
you're not that popular, just keep quiet. Like just keep quiet and let Jackson do the talking, and like you will get a little bit of hate for it, but Jackson will get the most
And the
hate.
thing is, Jackson can get away with it low-key because now like, people are going to be like, but Jackson is Chinese and he doesn't know anything about America. So you can't blame him for saying someone so and so is going to get shot. He was just saying what he thinks was right. Compared to if it was Mark that was the one saying it and Jackson was the one that was just listening and Mark saying, you're going to get shot in America, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Like with the Rap Monster, people were like, Rap Monster said the N-word, and people didn't take too lightly to that. They were like, but even though Rap Monster's an American, Rap Monster knows a lot about hip-hop.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that he should have known is not to say the N-word.
No, definitely. That is a completely different topic. Very completely different. I think if you knew the you even if you there's just things that you can't be that ignorant. If you into hip hop, you can't be ignorant because there's certain things like that you need to be aware of if you going to pursue hip hop, if you weren't born into that specific
so
genre.
like basically Jackson has an advantage basically because he can claim ignorance and be like, well, I don't know anything about American because I'm from China and I flew from China to Korea and what I said is just my own opinion. So so he can get away with even if he's being controlled and Jackson knows that he's playing a role, he's trying to boost the ratings up.
Yeah.
If people confront him, he can just lie and be like, no, I don't know anything about America. I didn't know that was an offense.
I think if somebody confronted him and he would probably be able to use that, which in the same way for me is I don't agree with it because there's some, I feel like that might not be as bad as saying, for example, the N-word and people confront you and then
of course. I was just trying to just contrast the two different situations. And now Jackson basically has an advantage and he can basically say whatever he wants and
get away with it. I think in terms of that probably, but like if it's something more like extremely offensive, like really like not that like you can put a measurement to what people say and like classify it as it's moderately offensive or it's a little bit offensive or whatever the case may be, but like I think that definitely you would be able to get away with saying that, oh, but no, I didn't know, like I just assumed. But then as a person also, like having common sense, you can be like, oh, like not everything, certain things are being misrepresented in the media, so like what might look as if people are fighting in a certain country, it might not necessarily be like that if you actually get there.
So we could spend the whole day talking about this topic because I feel like there's a whole lot of other stuff that we didn't touch base on, but of course now we're kind of drawing close to the end. Like we literally have like 2 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing, a conclusion, a suggestion, a critique, anything that you'd like to say in terms of the topic that we were talking about?
I think that just coming back to the first part of
what we were talking about, the
what we were talking about, the auditions, just touching, coming back to that, I think that personally, I think that companies should put that they should state that no matter how harsh it sounds, I think that it just breaks somebody down completely if they find out that, oh, I'm just going to the second round, I'm just here because
transport.
Exactly. It would save you a lot of more heartache, and I think that they might not want to do that because money is so important to them. And so if
don't they pay also to now go into the auditions?
You have to pay.
So that could be also another reason.
I think that with that being said, I think that company should just put should just state there that we're looking for Asian Americans, Asian people from all over.
Yeah.
I think that it would save you a lot of heartache, and if you want to be a K-pop artist, I think it would save you a lot of time and heartache. And I think also companies do that because they don't want to lose fans.
Yeah.
But like, I think at that point, like if you're a true fan of K-pop, like you would understand.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming. We'll be obviously having you this whole entire week because we'll be touching on different topics within K-pop. It's not just racism. There's more other stuff that we need to unpack. And so, guys, you can catch us every single day, Monday to Friday, from 2 till 2:30. And we'll see you guys tomorrow with more interesting topics to talk about.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed that mini interview / podcast. Please do join us tomorrow. We'll be discussing another important topic within K-pop. Have a lovely day and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.